What's up, guys? You're listening to To Transcend, a podcast that inspires individuals to go beyond their limits. Our names are Kevin Tran
and Jimmy Tran. On this show, we sit down and converse with others and ourselves about the journey we're on and the lessons we've learned along the way.
Yeah, I think everything's rolling. Camera's rolling, mic recorders rolling. And,
long-awaited return.
Yep, it's been a minute, man.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. We took a break. We had an episode, but we ended up...
just scrapping it.
Yeah, just scrapping it. We had some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to be back in the room, starting up another episode.
Got some good topics.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess it's been a little bit. Let's just give the audience a little bit of a life update. I'll go first.
Okay.
So, in the past 2 weeks, what did we do?
I mean, probably 3 weeks, huh? I guess going back a little.
Yeah, well, because we pre-recorded some, but really, I went out of state.
Yeah.
I traveled for the first time since COVID hit, the pandemic.
Since Bali.
Yeah, so that was like February, I think.
Yeah.
February, March, one of those. But it was interesting. Didn't fly, though. So still a little nervous about flying.
How'd you get to your destination?
We rented an RV.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it was interesting. There was 6 of us, so it was the Transcenders crew. The 3 of us and our significant others. But we were literally stuck together 24/7, right?
Basically in a room.
Yeah, and that's like, it's good and bad,
Mm-hmm.
right? Bad in a way, I mean, not like, I want to say like super bad, but just not having your space and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's definitely difficult if you don't really like get along with those people, you know, in a way, or like you just kind of learn their tendencies,
Mm-hmm.
right, that they have at home in private.
That's what I was going to say. Do you feel like whenever you travel with different groups, I mean, really whoever really, do you feel like you kind of, after a little while, you kind of pick up on all the little things they do, and there's a point where just kind of everything kind of frustrates you or like kind of annoys you?
So, I mean, I traveled with this group before, and we went to the Southwest and had that, like, it was like a 4 or 5 day trip, and this was
That was
7
also
days.
kind of like an epic road trip.
Yeah, so it was a road trip, but we didn't stay in the car, right? So,
Mhm.
like, there was times where we were separated, right? When we were, like, at our Airbnb and whatever, but you definitely learn a lot about each other. And, I mean, I would go again with this group, so that says a lot, right? About
Mhm.
how
How
I
the
feel.
trip went.
Yeah, how the trip went. I mean, everyone's just very respectful and stuff about each other's things and helpful. You know, it's like it really was like a tribe, you know, like a family. And we worked together and made things work. We only ate out like 2-3 times during the whole trip, which is crazy, you
Yeah.
know. So one of the girls on the trip, she packed like all the meals, like prepped all the meals
That's
and
awesome.
stuff. So we brought along and we like cooked lunch and dinner basically every day. Breakfast was always kind of light and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
What was your, I guess if you could give everyone like a rundown of the trip, your favorite parts,
Yeah, so
main takeaways.
yeah, just to get right into it. The breakdown itinerary of the trip was we drove from Dallas, Texas, all the way up to the national park,
Rocky Mountains.
sand dunes
Okay,
first.
sand dunes.
Yeah, so we went to the sand dunes, and then stayed there for a night, and then drove to Black Gunnison. So it was like a big circle. So we
Mhm.
went to Black Canyon of Gunnison National Park. And then after that, we went around to Glenwood Springs, hung out there for like a few days, and went down to Aspen. Did like a
Mhm.
day trip to Aspen, hang out in there in the White River National Forest. And then after that, we drove to the Rocky Mountains, stayed in Estes Park,
Okay.
and then hung out in the Rocky Mountain National Park. Did a couple hikes there, and then last but not least, we went to Denver. And then after that, on our way back, we hit up Colorado Springs, checked out the Garden of the Gods,
Nice.
and that was fun. You know,
Pretty beautiful.
yeah, it was gorgeous. I mean, it's called Garden of the Gods, you know, for a reason, just because of the way the boulders and stuff are set up there. Like, I don't know, it's surreal.
Yeah.
And so after that, then we drove home. So it was kind of going up, made a big circle, and then straight back down, sort of like if you were to draw like the letter P.
Okay.
Right.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part. The favorite part of the trip had to be all the people that we met during the trip, and that's like
just a human connection.
Yeah, just a human connection, you know, and like hearing their stories and connecting with these people, it made it more clear to me on like the mission and goal that I'm like out trying to accomplish, right? As far as like how to affect other humans in a positive way, you know,
Gotcha.
and leave my mark on the world. So with that being said, everything that I'm doing in life right now, as far as like Transcenders, the businesses at home with my
just relationships,
my family, relationships, it's all working towards that like end goal, right? And this is part of like the Transcender side, and it made it a lot more clear to me on how does Transcenders play a role in it, right? And because Transcenders, you know, like we travel, we make like travel content and like hopefully like inspire other people to travel and explore, right?
Yeah.
And typically when you think of travel, like it's always like all these cool places that you see and stuff, right? And so
just basically the highlight reel.
Yeah, the highlight reel, but I mean it's more of like sightseeing and stuff that you see, and although we inspire people to like go travel and explore more, because we feel like that kind of expands your horizons, right? And it exposes you to different cultures. And I think that's where like the depth, and that's where we really want to inspire people, right? And hope people make those kind of connections like we did on this trip. Because dude, we met, it was like a professor,
From
doctor,
Kansas
from
or
University of Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah, and like we had Victor had like a little small conversation with him, and we ended up asking him, you know, because he just retired, right? And so he was like trying to like check things off his bucket list, and the thing he said, that the advice that he would give, you know, to anyone, I guess, growing up or younger than him, would be to enjoy the process, right? Enjoy the journey, basically. Like, and he explained like, you know, every part of his life when he first like was going to school, right? Going to get his master's, got married, having a family.
Doctorates. Wow.
Yeah, and so like with that being said, like he enjoyed every part of it, right? It wasn't like, oh man, like I have a family now, I can't go travel, right?
Yeah.
Like thinking about like the things that he couldn't do. Instead, he was like living in the moment, enjoying the moment in every part of it.
Yeah.
Right? And then he had grandkids, you know, and spending time with his grandkids, so he enjoyed like that part of his life, you know. And then now that he's retired, he is enjoying this new part of his life.
Yeah.
And so just with that being said, like even though, you know, it's good to have like goals and stuff like that, but while you're like trying to accomplish those goals and the kind of obstacles that you're going through, like embrace it, right? Embrace the journey.
To me, it almost sounds like metaphorically, rather than like getting a book and just trying to go through the whole book to say you just finished the book, it sounds like he was trying to preach like take each word, savor it, you know, take everything in and just try to learn from the whole experience.
Exactly, dude. That's a good way to articulate it for sure. So yeah, like that was huge for me, you know. That was like my biggest takeaway from this trip. And with that in mind, as Transcenders, as a group, you know, I feel like that's, you know, inevitably what we're trying to accomplish, right? Trying to achieve is like get these people to go out and make these connections and stuff like that. Because I mean, yeah, you can do it, you know, but if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, nothing's going to change, right? So by going out and exploring and checking out new experiences, it's just like, it's just opening you up to more opportunities on connecting with other human beings and building relationships and crossing paths with who knows who, right? Like someone that may change your life. And so yeah, like that's like my biggest takeaway from this trip.
7-day trip, and it sounds like you got like a whole lifelong experience type of
Yeah.
wisdom from it.
Yeah, no, seriously. And I mean, I may be a little more, what's the word for it? Like, I get really like,
Inspired almost.
yeah, inspired, like very inspired. And I like get caught up in my feelings a lot, you know, like I go pretty deep, like when I like, with anything that I do, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's good and bad, right? So like, I like try to take everything in. I mean, this was like a retreat for me, you know, in a sense, like,
Yeah.
seriously, every time I go on these trips, you know, and just seeing, whether it's experiencing like poverty, right, or like other people's like culture and their way of life and stuff like that, like I like embrace it, and I feel it a lot, and like I take a lot away from all my trips, you know, in that kind of way, just because
That's just kind of the type of person you are.
yeah, that's just the kind of type of person I am, and I want to be able to take something away from it, you know, and then be able to share it with other people. But yeah, I mean, that's just the mission, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of my mindset with everything.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Some good takeaways.
Yeah. What about you?
For myself, I guess, you know, outside surface level, nothing much has really changed. I'll say probably in the past month or so, I've been more active, like creating, I guess, content videos than I've ever been since like high school. So that's been a pretty good feeling. Just making content that I don't know exactly what it will do, but it feels, I guess at the end of the day, like I do feel more accomplished, and I honestly feel I feel more clear than I've been in quite a while.
That's a good ass feeling, dude.
Yeah, so it's a good feeling because,
Yeah.
you know, like, I'm not saying like I felt super lost and confused, but, you know, I didn't know exactly what. So this past month
It's just like getting things done, you know, like even as small as they are, whatever it may be, it just that feeling of getting things done and getting that momentum, I think helps a lot.
Yeah. And I think my biggest thing that I've been trying to practice this past month or maybe month and a half is like just getting things done right away. You know, from like the smallest things to like maybe the bigger things I'm trying to accomplish. And it's crazy because like, you know, you typically start off with the smaller things. Like I started off with like, so my main thing was like getting myself to floss. Like I would never do it, you know, but I felt like if I just constantly did it, and as soon as I thought about it, I just did it, I saw that kind of carry over with almost everything else I was doing. It almost like, I guess it's kind of bad because it becomes clockwork, but I feel like in this case, the clockwork became good because everything was just kind of adding up, allowing me to do more and more and accomplish more at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up, because it's just building that momentum, right? And then like having a habit and that instinct to like, because you think about it and you think about it too long, then you end up not doing it, right? So like when you think of something, like for you, same thing for me, like I have to do it right, act on it right away, or else that like energy, that moment it just goes away, kind of fades.
Exactly. But yeah, I'll say that's probably my biggest life update over the past 2 weeks. Just trying to create more, do more on what like I'm just speaking on, you know? Just trying to take more action. Like I said, I don't know where it's gonna go, what it's gonna like actually produce, but
I mean, you'll figure it out sooner or later, you know?
Yeah.
Like the more you do, the sooner you'll figure it out. Like you'll hit that, either that moment or that spark.
Exactly.
Whenever the time comes.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah, dope. That's good to hear. That's a big habit, you know? Like that's like life changing to pick that up. So
It is, man. Like I'll honestly say like I feel like my habits have like, I feel like I've always been kind of like a, I guess, put together person, but from the beginning of when I first moved in with you guys, like, I mean, you guys could hear my alarm in the morning, like it would ring off like 5-6 times, you know?
Yeah, for real.
And like even today, like the past couple of days, I feel like I've been kind of off. Like it's been ringing like two to three times, but
I mean, you had your wisdom teeth pulled out and shit.
yeah, but
So,
I guess that's a good reason.
you know,
but
you get knocked off your horse a little bit. That's okay.
I've just been trying to like, basically like first thing I do when I wake up, hear the alarm, just get up and I'll make my bed right away. And I feel like that's, you know, it sounds so minuscule, but that I feel like the energy just carries throughout the whole day.
Agreed. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say that's probably my biggest life update.
Cool, man. There's actually, so yeah, I mean, I guess that's our kind of our life update. Probably just take a quick break. So enjoy the beat, and kind of before you guys do that, while you guys are listening to the beat, think of, for example, like when you guys travel, do you guys like gain experiences like I did, you know? I'm kind of curious, you know, how people travel. Like you just go,
just kind of enjoy like this almost surface level.
Yeah, and nothing's wrong with that. But yeah, really curious to hear about your guys' thoughts on like when you travel, what are things you take away and stuff like that. And then for Jimmy, being able to make these like little changes in your life that are like impacting your life in a big way.
Yeah.
So like, what are some things that you guys have tried out in your life that helped you improve your habits and stuff like that?
Just overall habits.
For sure. But yeah, we'll catch you guys back in a little bit.
Sounds good.
All right. Welcome back. Hope you guys enjoyed that beat. Again, it's by Rhythmatical, one of my friends from California, childhood friend. And
shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out. It's a fresh new beat, so yeah, enjoy it. All right, so now that we're back, we just gave a life update.
You kind of brought up this pretty interesting list that you had found pretty recently.
Yeah, dude, it was on Instagram, so like just going kind of through our feed, dude, it really caught my attention because it was talking about 8 lessons people learn too late in life, right? And we'll share with you guys the link to the post in the description below, and we'll mention in the Spotify description as well, and on our IG we'll share it. But we'll just touch on a few of them, dude, and just kind of let out our opinion so people can hear it. But the very first one that I want to talk about is your diet isn't just what you eat, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? So what this person said about it was, as you get older, you realize that your diet isn't just what you eat. It's what you watch, what you read, who you follow, and who you spend your time with. So if your goal is to have a healthier mind, you have to start by removing all the junk from your diet, right? And I know you like recently like worked on your diet. I would say recent, but it's been like 2 years or so, right?
Yeah. Like actual diet.
Yeah, like actual food diet, right?
Yeah.
And so like, with that being said, and how it's talking about like removing junk from your diet, do you feel like, I mean, do you sort of kind of understand what that person's trying to say?
I think so. I mean, I think, actually from going through like an actual, I guess, like diet or like cleaning out what I eat, I can totally see how that translates like metaphorically through someone's life.
Like mental health.
Like if you have a bunch of like toxic people around you, people are just bringing you down, that's like, nothing wrong with a bag of chips, right? It's kind of like those people are probably good people, but when they're toxic, it's just bringing you down. Like it's like constantly eating a bag of Doritos. Like it's great when you first bite into it, but you're not going to feel good in the long run.
Yeah, no, that's really good, dude. I didn't even think about it like that, but that's totally right. Like, take for example, like a bag of Doritos, and like those friends that like, or those people in our perspective, right? Partying, drinking, whatever, doing like nonstop, where it's like, or toxic people in general. And it's okay, like, to be friends or like to eat it once in a while and say, but like if you're doing it on a daily basis, then your health is going to decrease, right? It's going to get worse. And same thing goes for your mindset, your mental health, right? If you hang out with those people every day, those toxic people, then it's going to affect your mental health in a negative way. So with that being said, I mean, it goes back to what we said before, right? It's like you are like what you consume,
Exactly.
you know, and kind of the people you surround yourself with. And so I mean, I totally agree. And I think I've already learned this, I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 years ago about
Just the people around you.
yeah, like your diet isn't just what you eat, right? It's everything you consume, from watching TV, listening to music, who you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was like a really good point. And then the next one, do you have anything else to say about that you want to say?
One kind of off topic thing. I'm not trying to call out Doritos. I love Doritos, but just trying to compare like the, I guess, toxic people to some junk food.
Yeah. Okay. Disclaimer. All right. The next thing on here that really caught my attention was fairy tales will make you unhappy. All right. So what this person said about it was obsessing over the things that society said you're supposed to do will kill your happiness. Don't listen to the fake fairy tales of how your life is supposed to be going. You don't have to go to university at 18, get a job at 21, buy a house at 25, get married at 30, or have kids at 35. Everyone is different, and your path to happiness will be too.
That's facts.
Yeah, so, I mean, what do you think about that?
That speaks. I mean, because I'm at that age where it's like that weird crossroad where, as a 24-year-old, some of my friends are getting married, been married, had kids, buying homes, new cars, and I have a other group of friends that are, I guess it seems a little bit more childish in a sense that they're not, following to, I guess, like society's, guideline of like 25, 30, 35, and they're just trying to do their own thing.
Like, what is childish? You know what I mean? And I know I get what you're saying, but it's like, who defined that as being childish? And I hate that in society that's what it's viewed as, right? Because I don't see that as childish. It's like it's okay not to know yet,
exactly.
Or like not to be like wherever you are in life is where you're supposed to be. As like cliche as that sounds, it is.
It's
right?
true.
It's what you've done, right?
Yeah.
It's everything that's led up to that point, and that's typically like where you are in life.
Yeah. And I'll say with me being, I guess, 24, like I don't know how you felt as a 24 25 year old when you got asked this question. Maybe your mindset was different back then, but every time I get asked, like at work especially, like what is your 5-year goal, like I have to give them like the fairy tale, like kind of like society expectations, like 24, like looking to getting a MBA by 27, looking at or an engineering master's if I want to go like technical or leadership. So, but in the reality, like none of that is true, so I don't know, like I guess it's just that weird tug of war, at least for myself, like I know at work or just even people outside, like it's almost expected, like you already have this going on for you, you need to expand on it.
Yeah, no, and it's just interesting you say that, but like I mentioned to you before about saying those kind of things, and I did it before when I first was in the thing. I was like, oh yeah, when I first got my job, I was like my 5-year plan. Oh, I was a consultant, right? I'm gonna be a senior consultant, and then I'm gonna be a manager, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the typical normal steps, right? And that's kind of, I wouldn't say like that wasn't true at the time, but in my head, like it was already set, and they knew that too, but they just wanted to hear me say it, because like it's like
there's something about hearing someone say it directly.
Yeah, and then as time progressed, it just wasn't true anymore, and I realized like I was lying to myself, even though like that's what's expected of me because that's what society thinks. I was lying to myself, and I was like, man, I need to stop that, and but it's hard, right? Because especially when people at your job ask you, because then if you say, oh, my 5-year plan, I'm gonna be a videographer, right? Like for example, if I said that, they're like, what? They're like, so do you want to be at this job right now, right? And then they'll start like they'll
They start to question.
Yeah, they
your,
start to
like,
question your work ethic. Like, what are you really here because you want to be here? Like things like that. And
But what sucks, right? Because it's like you could be great at your job and do 100% of your tasks, but for some reason, if you just say my 5-year plan isn't with the
Yeah.
company, then they're like,
if it's not what they expect it to be, then they start looking at you weird. But
Yeah.
like, but I'm still getting my job done. I'm doing everything right. I mean, I'm even doing great at some of the things.
yeah,
But I just don't see myself being here, like, in the long run. So like, who's at fault? Is that wrong?
no, I mean, I personally don't think so.
Yeah, me neither. But like, I feel like people get trapped into that kind of sense, and then some people, they end up doing those things just because it's what is expected, right? Like you said, like that's the typical, and then you're like, oh, I'm already there. Like that's what you should do,
Yeah.
like take it all. Which, I mean, I understand to an extent, but if it's not you and you're just not happy,
Yeah.
then quit. You don't have to follow those fairy tale books.
Yeah. Because I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like, I guess fairy tale, when you call it a fairy tale, it almost sounds like kind of, like ridiculous or like, I don't know, like just I feel like there's like a connotation with calling something a fairy tale that sounds kind of negative, but some people,
so let me ask you, what is a fairy tale to you? Your definition of a fairy tale?
doing creative work full time and just living a happy life.
Okay, so you're explaining. My thing is like, I was trying to say like, what does a fairy tale mean
like
to you?
in like society?
Yeah, like, or like just like in general, right?
Okay, I think the general fairy tale is go to 18, or when you're 18, you go to college, university, you find a girl in university, or maybe a little bit after at your work. You get your entry level job, you move up the ranks. By 30, you're probably making like 90K. You're in upper management. You're ready to almost be the next step. You do your MBA or your technical masters, have kids, and that's the fairy tale. And then you just wait till you're 65 and you retire.
And okay, so that's perfect, right? But my thing is like, it's called a fairy tale because if you do all those steps, in the end you'll be happy, right? The fairy tale ending is what people call it, right? And that's kind of like what people think, right? So if I do all those things that's expected me from society, I will have that fairy tale ending, right? But it's like everyone's different, right? And happiness is defined differently for everybody.
Exactly.
And so just because you have those things that society tells you to have, and that is society's definition of a fairy tale ending, right? A fairy tale story, whatever it may be. I don't think that's true. And what I feel like this is trying to say is like, we'll make you unhappy because you're trying so hard to follow that fit, like, because this is what the fairy tale book says, that you're going against who you truly are. And that happens for a lot of people because that was only worked for, I don't know, however many people it may be, and sometimes it does work for people. That's like the life that they wanted.
Exactly.
And that's exactly how their life played out. But more often than not, it's not true, right? For everybody. And so like, that's my kind of thing, is like, that's why when you get told like fairy tales and stuff like that, it's like, oh, like girls getting told, oh, be a prince, be a princess, like that's going to be like the best thing ever. And then it really isn't. Like, not everybody can be a princess,
Yeah.
So like, that's how I kind of viewed that in my perspective on that. But yeah, dude, that was a good one. Then the last thing that I wanted to talk about as far as these 8 different topics, is the fun is yours. This guy says, if you want to enjoy your life, don't subscribe to other people's definition of fun.
Yeah.
Fun doesn't have to mean drinking, partying, socializing, traveling. Fun can be a night in alone, getting lost in a book, a deep conversation, a walk in the park, creating art, playing music, or doing work that you love. Your fun belongs to you. Make sure you define it. And that's totally true.
That's facts as well.
Yeah, bro. Like, I feel like people get lost, lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
Of like, what
going out and like another society expectation of
what fun is.
Early 20s or 30s, what you're supposed to do to have fun. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you get the same feeling when you do this. But like I said, recently this past month, I've just been like making videos and stuff, and like at midnight or 11 late at night when I'm in that little like nook in my room, like just making videos.
Yeah.
And they're nothing like super life changing, but I'm making stuff that I like. Like I would be lying if I said my serotonin wasn't going off and I wasn't having a good time, and that's just me by myself making videos. It's not me going out there doing whatever, like being under the influence. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, like having a drink every now and then. But I definitely don't think you need to go out, always be in a big group, socialize, and
what the normal definition of fun is, you know? I agree, man. And fun, I think once you gotta kind of figure yourself out, right? And define what fun is for you. So, and that takes a lot, right? Because at first you're going to go down, I feel like you're just going to go down that route of what everyone else thinks is fun, right? And then it's going to be fun to you until you like sit down and start realizing, right? And understanding who you are as a person. And is that truly fun for you, or are you just trying to keep up with the Joneses, right?
Yeah.
Like just because you care about what other people think about you. But if you go out and party like that and you're truly having fun,
and that's fun to you.
Yeah, then that's okay, right?
Yeah.
That's your definition of fun. But I think the reason why it said, that fun doesn't have to be those things is because that's what the common definition of fun is, right? And those other ones, it's like, man, you sound boring, right? People say that kind of stuff, right? Like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I stayed home, had coffee with my wife.
Just watch some.
Yeah, we watched some Netflix shows and went grocery shopping, and we spent time like reading books and stuff like that.
Yeah, someone might go like, "What a schmuck!" I was out here partying it up.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I went to the club, bro. We had bottles popping, and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And like, okay, yeah, that sounds like, and I think also it has to do.
That this maybe sound like a little bit of fun, but right when it boils down to it, if you don't find that fun, then
that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. And like, don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Even though that person can make you feel bad about it, but you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that being said, dude, like, I guess you sort of explained what your definition of fun was, right? Like being in that nook, editing. And I know you spend time with Lilani and stuff, and that's probably like fun with you. Because, like back then your boys be like, bro, you're lame, bro. Like, come on, let's go out.
You're cuffed down and not going out. But yeah, and I think that's, this is something that I would imagine is super true on like a college campus or, anyone within that age group of like, especially 18 to like 24, 23, where everyone is expected to go out to bars, like everyone's trying to meet someone. Everyone's trying to like post like the craziest like Snap IG story of like them out at the club.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is definitely something a lot of people might struggle with.
Yeah. And like for me, I definitely did. I mean, when I was in college, like I was trying to party my ass off, right? And go out and be like socialized, because that was fun. Like I wasn't trying to study and stuff like that, right? And I think at the time though, I didn't know who I truly was, right? Like I didn't know, I wasn't really into like videography and like things of that nature. And again, fun can change for you depending on where you're at in life, right?
Exactly.
Now my definition of fun is kind of what I just explained to you, right? Spending time with my family, my wife, going traveling, right? Exploring things, and then creating things, right? With my video, with my camera, whether it be video or photo. And like, I get super excited, I'm like, oh shit, like you just see that like excitement in me when I do that kind of stuff. And it, outside looking in, like it looks lame as fuck. I mean, I guess compared, if I'm talking about what society thinks.
It's just very mundane. Maybe not lame, but just like, nothing exciting.
Yeah, exciting to the normal, I guess, to the common person. But exciting to me, yes. Like doing this podcast. People are like, these two dudes are talking to each other once a week.
Just in a room in their house.
Yeah, and it's like that's fun to you guys. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, like I said, this has been one of the highlights in my life recently, right? Like, it's like getting into this room and just talking to you about things, because I've learned a lot.
Just expanding our minds.
Yeah, expanding our minds. And I mean, learn more about you, and then like even learning a lot more about myself, right?
No, definitely.
So that's been like a big joy for me. Another one of being is like seeing my wife learning something new, because seeing her like trying to figure things out on her own and stuff, and that's been exciting for me a lot. Like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it's just.
I think it's just maybe as you get older, like maybe you learn to appreciate like all the simple things in life, you know, or like just like the little things can make you the happiest. Like it was kind of crazy because I think it was like maybe 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I was outside with Kelly, you know, like we were just taking care of Gigi, his new puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking, it was crazy because like I was looking at Kelly, you know, and I was like, for some reason my mind flashed back to like one of my earliest memories with Kelly, where I think my dad took me and him to like the Applied Materials work family day or something like that, and we got pancakes, and I still have that picture actually. But then like I was just thinking about like, you know, where Kelly is at with his life, you know, like the next upcoming events that are gonna happen for him. I was like, damn, you know, like that makes me pretty happy to think about that, you know, like we were just kids, and that honestly does feel like yesterday, but now we're like, you know, moving towards different things. Like even like you and Ann like moving to a new place, I'm like, damn, like things are changing up here for the good, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and that's just life, dude.
Yeah.
It's.
So that might have been a tangent. I don't know if that's like definition of fun, but
I mean,
it's what brings me like joy, I guess.
Yeah, right, for sure. Yeah, and so just noticing things like that, I feel like can definitely show who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially like what your definition of fun is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that, like I said, there's like a few more other things on this list that are on there that, I mean, are good lessons, you know. I guess one of the things that we talked about was you have to let people down to be happy.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and I mean, we can touch on this real quick before we wrap this episode up, but this guy says, you and your mental health are more important than your career, more money, other people's opinions, that event you said you would attend, your partner's mood, and your family's wishes. You know, if taking care of yourself means letting someone down, then let someone down. Your self-love must always be stronger than your desire to be loved by others.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's so freaking true, dude. Especially talking about like, I think this month is mental health awareness.
It's like suicide prevention month or something like that.
Yeah, and that I feel like, with that being said, you have to love yourself, right? In order to give something, you have to have it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't just give, like, how are you going to give away money if you don't have money? Right? How are you going to give love if you don't have love for yourself?
No, that's facts.
Right? And so this is like super, I feel like, important and relevant in today's world. You know, because you can see people that are going out of their way, right, to like make others happy and do this and that for other people, and then they go home and you just see them like
just kind of frustrated.
Yeah, either frustrated or drained. You know, like just don't have any more like energy or whatever for themselves. And so like I feel like there should be a balance, you know.
No, yeah, for sure.
At the end of the day, like you got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
You know, first and foremost, because if you can't
take care of yourself, how can you
take care of others? I mean, yeah, exactly. And I just feel like it's okay to let others people down in order for your own health, right? For your own mental health.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be, because if you're always out there trying to make others happy or trying to like
just always support them, always
support
be there.
Someone, like how are you gonna have any energy or juice left to support yourself?
Yeah. And I feel like this is pretty, I mean, at least where I feel like I see this a lot is you know, definitely family situations, but for myself, what I'll speak about is like work situations where I see a lot of like my coworkers or whoever, like it may be in that professional setting, like they're sacrificing themselves for, you know, like for their program or for their project to be completed. But I'm like, man, you gotta focus on taking care of yourself first, you know, like respect to you, like, you know, that's your end goal, and you know, you're definitely getting your job done, but you know,
but to an extent, bro, like at what cost does that have to come at, right? And that kind of bleeds into this other thing I read, dude, about the like top regrets that people have on their dying bed.
Yeah.
On their when they're like on their
Deathbed,
right?
Yeah.
And it talks about regret about putting so much energy into work or something that they don't like really love doing, but it's like into their work and not spending enough time
With their loved
ones or on themselves, right? And that's one thing that they regret because that's time they can't get back.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, it's like, is it truly worth it, dude? Like for example, your son, right, has a soccer game, you know, this weekend or whatever.
You gotta meet a deadline.
Yeah, you gotta meet a deadline though, because your manager says, you know, this needs to be done by Saturday or whatever, and so then you end up missing your son's game to work that overtime. Like, is that worth it? Like, and then your son, that was like one of his biggest games of his life, right? That he like scored,
missed a pretty big
scored
deal.
goal and stuff like that. And yeah, okay, he'll have another game, whatever it may be, but maybe not that same experience at that time. You know, that time spent. So was that probably whatever you need to do at work, you know, that important to where,
Yeah.
you know,
You had to miss your son's game.
I mean, so that's just one scenario, right? So I mean, as much as you can, you gotta balance that out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. Okay, if you don't do this job,
And you get fired.
Yeah.
And, you know, you need to do it.
yeah,
Definitely
like in that
understandable.
perspective. Like, so it just depends on the situation, but definitely like take it into consideration. You know, like you just working hard because you want to work hard. You know, like is it going? You know, but at the end of the day, like I don't know, I take it to the extreme, right? I would think like, okay, who do I care more about? You know?
Yeah.
And
the company or my family.
yeah, and like at the end of the day, you can probably find another job, right? But
Yeah.
your family, like losing your family, like
That's you can't put a price on that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's perfect. But I mean, yeah. So with that being said, I mean, would love to hear your guys' thoughts on
Those topics.
those topics that we talked about. So again, kind of recapping it, it's your diet isn't just what you eat. Fairy tales will make you unhappy, and the fun is yours.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree, disagree?
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. DM us, drop a comment on the post. But yeah, thanks for listening,
As always,
and hope you guys enjoy the beat.
catch you guys later.